Hello, I'm Afani Victor Ngando and welcome to Kingsman Advocates Law Firm YouTube channel. Here we'll discuss some corporate legal matters in line with the Cameroon legal system. And if this is the first time you're watching our YouTube channel, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Today we're going to discuss on how to register a company in Cameroon. This question keeps coming up by a lot of our clients across the world who want to start up their businesses in Cameroon. And we're going to dissect it by giving you the information required to start up a company in Cameroon, the documents that will be prepared by a notary public, the filing process stage, and the expected certificates you're required to be given at the end of the entire process. And finally, we'll touch on some frequently asked questions by potential businessmen and investors in Cameroon. So stay in touch while we go through the entire process. So before we discuss on the information needed to register a company in Cameroon, it's important for us to define what is a company. A company is an entity formed by one or two persons with a motive to run a business and to make profit. Now, we're also going to look at a limited liability company. A limited liability company is a company whereby the liability of the shareholders are limited to their shares. And what are shares? Shares are simply the contribution and ownership right of shareholders in a company. Now, let's look at the various informations that we'll need to register your company in Cameroon. One, you must first of all come up with a corporate name. The name must end with an LTD in the case of a private limited company, which is our point of focus today, and the name may also end with a PLC in the case of a public limited company. Secondly, we must come up with the objectives of the company. What type of company do you want to set up? Is it a construction company, a real estate company, a modeling company, an entertainment company, or a company that is into investment? There are so many forms of companies. So it's good that your company's objective should be expressly spelled out. So tomorrow you don't carry any activity which is out of your company's objectives. Thirdly, it's good to identify the shareholders of the company. The shareholders of the company can be natural persons, that is human beings, and they can be artificial persons, that is corporate bodies. So you identify the shareholders of the company and you also identify their shareholding ratio. What do I mean? The minimum share capital to start up a company in Cameroon is 1 million share capital. So the shareholding ratio should be appropriately distributed amongst the shareholders. So out of 1 million, if there are 4 people, how do you intend to distribute the shares amongst those 4 people? Then we also need the identification documents of all the shareholders. In this case, it can be their national identity card, or if they're foreigners, they can be an international passport data page. Most importantly, most startup companies in Cameroon have the worry, should we have a physical office before we register? The law is clear. It's good to make provisions of an address, which can also be temporal for the purpose of incorporating the company in Cameroon. When we have all these informations, every company must appoint at least a manager to run the affairs of the company in Cameroon. We also require the non-crime certificate or non-conviction of all the shareholders and the manager. And this is because to start up a company in Cameroon, the regulatory bodies must be certain and sure that the shareholders have no criminal record whatsoever in Cameroon. Now, when we have put up all these informations together, the next important step is to come out with what they call the corporate documents, which will be drafted by a notary public, in this case, in our firm. Now, what do we do here? We use information to draft what they call the articles of association. It's what is the constitution of the company, is the most important document of your company. And if not well crafted, the company's existence might be in jeopardy. We also use the information to come out with what they call the notarial statement of subscription of shares. This statement shows that the shareholders have paid up and they have subscribed for their shares. And as such, the company is ready to do business in Cameroon. And this is registration process. we also come up with an appointment certificate of the manager of the company. So when the manager is appointed, a certificate must be prepared in the name of the company appointing the manager and expressly spelling out the functions, the duration, the remunerations, etc. They will come out with a list of shareholders of the company. And in this case, if the shareholder is a minor, we have to attach the birth certificate of that minor in the company. Now, when we draft all these documents, we must ensure we conclude by drafting the certificate of conformity in line with the OHADA law regulating incorporations of company. Now, at the end of the drafting, the next stage is to ensure that the documents are appropriately filed. And how will this be done? The first is to ensure that the article of associations are filed at the level of the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise. You file the article of associations, you file the certificate of appointment of manager, you file the list of shareholders, you file in the list of manager, and you file in the certificate of conformity. At the end of it, and the regulatory agency finds your document satisfactory, you will be issued with a certificate of incorporation of the company, a registered article of association, a copy of the certificate of appointment of manager of the company, an attestation of business creation of the company, and a taxpayer's card. Now, when you receive this document, that is not the end of the registration process. You now have to proceed to ensure that you're issued with an attestation of localization of your company and a business license, what they call in French, attestation de non-redevance. Now, when you have all these documents, it is obvious that your company has gone through the legal process, and as such, you can hire any worker in the country, you can engage in any contract, you can open a corporate bank account, and you can engage your business activities with all serenity and certainty. Now, there are usually questions that comes up from clients on registering a company in Cameroon. I've received questions like, what is the duration to incorporate a company in Cameroon? If we are handling the process for you, it takes approximately 15 to 20 working days to register a company in Cameroon. Now, I also receive questions like, can a single person start up a company in Cameroon? Yes, but you must ensure you go through the requirement of the law regulating registration of companies in Cameroon. Now, questions always come up again like, we want to register a company in Cameroon, but we don't want to travel to Cameroon. How can that be done? Now, with the fact that registration of companies and signatures can be received through a digital means, clients presently are allowed to sign their signatures digital means and send it for us to start the process. So they don't necessarily need to travel to Cameroon before their company can be registered. Also, the question that always linger in the minds of clients, we don't have an office address. How do we start a company in Cameroon? Yes, you can't register a company without having an address. So most times we advise clients to resort to a temporal address for the purpose of registration, just to locate their businesses. And when the company is ongoing, they can change their company address to any region or any town in Cameroon by a simple resolution. And that is acceptable. So if you find the content helpful, or you have any questions touching on this, or you have other areas of concern you want us to discuss about, please comment below, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and like our page. You can also follow us on our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter for further content. Thank you so much for watching.